Hello foodies, I'm Chef D and welcome back to my cooking show. I'm going to teach you how to make delicious, healthy, vegan, vegetarian meals. I'm going to show you how to turn your everyday meals into healthy, delicious, guilt-free ones. This show is all about substituting unnecessary fats, oils from your diets and how we can add in lots of other supercharged ingredients. Today I'm bringing you a delicious comfort Gujrati Daal Dokri, but it's never that simple. I'm going to put a little twist in it. What we're bringing to you today is an Italian Guju affair. It's a Ravioli Daal Dokri. Now this Daal Dokri, I made it as a signature dish in my restaurant and they absolutely loved it. So I'm bringing it to you today. So let's start cooking. I'm going to show you the ingredients we've got today. I'll be going through it one by one anyway. But we've got an array of ingredients. We're going to start off with the lentil that we're using today. The lentil is split pigeon peas, also known as tuer dal, also known as arhal dal. Now because this needs soaking, I've already pre-soaked it. So I'll just grab that just to show you. This is pre-soaked for 4 hours, and as you can see, the size has changed tremendously. I've washed it at least 4 to 5 times because it has a little bit of grease on it. They put the grease on it because it's a preservative. We need to get that grease off, and we've soaked it for 4 hours. So this is absolutely ready for us now. Before I put this on to cook, don't forget to subscribe and be the first to watch us again. Press that like button, share with your friends, and don't forget to tune in every week because we're going to have new exciting recipes for you every week. So I'm going to add in the dal into this. We're going to take the excess water out. Now I can take the remainder water out into my sink. So just bear with me a minute. All the measurements and all the descriptions will be below, so don't worry about it. We're going to add some boiling hot water to this. I'm going to let this cook for the next half an hour. If you're cooking on an electric stove, I've just turned that up onto number 3. So we're going to leave that to cook. Just going to add a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt because we don't want our dal to be bland. We want all the flavors to go inside as well. Whenever starting any cooking, always plan ahead. To plan ahead, we can do things like this where we put the dal to cook first because it takes the longest. The next thing we're going to do is the actual dough for the dokri. We've got 3 cups of whole wheat flour here. What we're going to add to this now is half a cup of corn flour. Now this is corn maize flour, not starch. 3/4 cup of chickpea flour. If you watch my show, you'll notice that I always put some oil on the side. Now this is 5 tablespoons of olive oil. This is the amount of oil we would normally use in this recipe today. Now my aim is to use less. So by the end of this show, we will find out how much we've got left and how much you've saved. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon, 1.5 teaspoons of olive oil in this dough today, 2 teaspoons of pink Himalayan salt, Now this whole dish is made predominantly with ginger and chilies. It's not got any garlic in it. So we've got a big heaped tablespoon of ginger. Now my chilies are actually very spicy, so I'm going to go for a small amount in here. That's a small teaspoon. 1 full heaped teaspoon of turmeric. Haldi. We've got jeera powder, ground cumin, coriander powder, ground dhania, whole seeds. To this we're going to add a little bit of asafoetida. If any of you know what that is, you can get it in a little bottle. It just increases all the flavors. In my dishes I try not to use red chili powder. We use enough of green chilies, we don't need that extra heat. To here we're going to add a teaspoon of whole cumin and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground fennel. This is ready now. We're going to bind it together, mix it all in nicely. Bind it together, a little bit of warm water. Now we want to make a semi-soft dough. We don't want it too hard and we don't want it too soft. So pour the water in slowly. At this point, if you did want to taste a bit of the flour just to make sure your salt and chili levels are fine, because you won't be able to add it in afterwards, but I'm confident they're fine, so I'm not going to taste it. So we're just finishing this off. About a couple of drops of water just in my hand. Now why we're making this into a semi-soft dough is when we roll it out, this is going to be rolled out and filled with a lovely ravioli filling. So instead of a pasta, we're doing a nice whole wheat pasta. That dough has come together fine. I'm happy with that. So we're going to leave that to rest for about 10 to 15 minutes before we make a start on what we want to do. Before I put a little cover on it, I'm just going to pat it with a little bit of water because we don't want the flours to dry out. There we go. Just going to leave it there for a while. That's out of the way now. Our water is coming to a boil, as you can see. Now if you get a lot of scum on top, you can take that off afterwards, which I usually do because I don't like that kind of extra starch in my dals. So we'll just let that cook away. Right, what we're going to do now is make the filling. What I've got for you today is a special filling made from a cup of baby spinach. We've got 2 cloves of garlic. We've got nutritional yeast. We've got ground flax seeds. 1 tiny spoon of Himalayan pink salt. Because the spinach and the nutritional yeast has a lot of natural salt in it, we don't need to add too much. We've got hulled hemp seeds. We've got coconut. We've got sunflower seeds, half a lime, and we've got soaked cashew nuts. Now I'm going to put all this into a chopper, a small little blender chopper, and blend it into a paste, adding half a teaspoon of olive oil. This is the paste that I've made. As you can see, it's not soft, it's not runny, it can turn into a little ball. Lovely and sticky and ready for filling our ravioli. So we're just going to leave that to the side for now. We're just going to wait till this dal is cooked, so don't forget to subscribe and press that like button and the bell button and be the first to see us. We'll be coming every week with new, beautiful new recipes, and if there's anything that you want me to make, drop your comments in the messages below and we will reply, and hopefully I'll be able to make something that you want. So don't forget to subscribe. So we're going to have a quick look at this again. If you have a pressure cooker and you want to do this in a pressure cooker, that's perfectly fine as well. You're looking at about 2 whistles. I personally don't like to cook in pressure cookers. If we're doing everything healthy, then it's got to be done from scratch as well. So just a little bit longer. As you can see, this is beautifully steaming away. And we've not got that much starch on top, so it's perfectly fine. We don't need to take anything off. So I'm happy with that. We're going to let that carry on. In the meantime, before I do the masala for this dal, because I want to do the masala and put it straight into the dal, we're going to get the little onion salad ready. So I'm going to make for you today a lovely round onion salad. It's going to be made with red onions. We're going to cut them into round discs. If you've got a slicer at home, you can use your slicer. There we go. We're going to separate these onions to have nice round discs. Traditionally, dal dokri is eaten with lots of onions. It's eaten with achar, pickled chilies, but it's not eaten with roti. It's a complete dish in itself. So today, with the ravioli in it, it's going to be a luxury dish. So adding ravioli to this humble dal dokri, we've not only increased its nutritional value, but the whole dish is now not your little humble home comfort food any longer. You can plate it up, you can make it look delicious, because it's going to taste delicious. So what we've got here now, we've got a nice bowl of round cut red onions. What we're going to add to this now is some fresh coriander. I'm going to cut it anyway because we're going to need some for our masala for the dal. What we're going to use in the dal is the stems. So I'm going to cut the stems first very finely, because that's going to go into the actual masala. So we've got that on one side. Now a little bit for our onion salad. What we're going to add to this is some lemon. Squeeze in half a lemon. Squeeze in as much as you can, and if you want, you can scrape out a little bit of lemon skin as well. All helps with the nutritional value. Just going to toss that up. We're not going to add any salt to this. We don't want any water to start coming out of the onions. We're going to leave it just as it is. We're going to add a little bit of cumin powder. This is roasted cumin powder. And I've got here, it's called methi achar with red chilies. It's got Kashmiri red chilies, it's got hot red chilies, and it's bound together with ground fenugreek seeds. This is really tasty in here. Gives it a lovely spicy kick. So we're going to just mix that together. Leave it aside. That's our onions ready for the plating. Now, if most of you know that I never leave my onions open, so we're going to lid that. If you don't know already and you've not watched any of the other videos, you should never leave your peeled onions open, because what do onions do? It captures all the bacteria from the room. Now you don't want to have a salad that's full of bacteria. So we're going to lid that and we're going to have the goodness. So we've just finished off cutting our coriander, so we can put all the cutting stuff away. We won't need any more cutting because we're going to make the ravioli here now. So we've got that aside. That's for our masala and that's for our dal and our garnish. Right, my dal is just about cooked. I'm just reducing the temperature to number 2. We're going to have a look at that. As you can see, it's split beautifully and it's getting nice and creamy. So what we want to do now at this stage is just move it aside, cool it down for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to blend it. If you've got a hand blender, you can put the hand blender in. Please don't burn yourself, or cool it down a little bit more and use your jug blender, whatever's easier for you. So I'm just going to quickly blend that. Right, thanks to the beauty and magic of television, my dal is now beautifully blended and smooth. The next step of this now is to make, I'm just going to put the gas back on number 1, not too high heat at all. We're going to make the masala for this now. So we're going to switch this on high for now, because we just want this to heat through lovely. Now I'll be showing you how I make this tadka with as little oil as absolutely possible. So let's wait till that heats through. What we will be using for this is a drop of oil and our tadka masala. In English it's called tempering. Now tempering is not, I'm not having a bad temper. We're going to put all our little masalas in here. It's going to pop away and roast away. So it'll bring so much beautiful flavor into our dish. So some people like to throw things directly into a dal. If you do it that way, you won't get the aroma, the deep, how can you say, the rustic aroma and the deep flavors of all your masalas. You'll get that raw flavor. So always try to roast your masalas and always try to cook chilies, cook your ginger through. You will notice the difference. Well, this pan is nice and heated up. Now today I'm going to use just 1 tablespoon of oil. In my previous videos you have seen me do tempering vagar with no oil at all. But there's one ingredient I'm going to put in this today, and I'd rather that be heated up in a little bit of oil, otherwise it burns. So we're first thing we're going to add to this now is a full heaped teaspoon of mustard seeds, rye, already starting to pop. So I'm just going to move it to the side. We're going to add a teaspoon of whole cumin. We're going to add a red chili, dried red chili. We're going to break it in 2 halves. Add 2 of them. This one I'm going to leave whole because I'll be using this for garnish afterwards as well. We've got some fresh curry leaves that I'm going to add to this. Going to put it back on our heat. Just going to let this heat through before I add the rest, because the rest of the ingredients I don't want it to burn at all. So as you can see, it's just cooking through nicely. Just want the curry leaves to heat through, my red chilies to heat through. We don't want to burn anything, just slightly heating through. And that's perfectly fine. My cumin seeds have roasted beautifully. So I'm just going to pop that to the side. And what I'm going to add to this now is 1 heaped teaspoon of asafoetida, hing. We're going to add our red chili and fenugreek seed crushed masala ready, about 2 teaspoons of this. And I've got some crushed fenugreek seeds on its own, which I'll be adding half a teaspoon. We'll be using, just heating this through again, ever so slightly. And if you've noticed, I've not put the haldi on this yet. Again, I don't want my haldi to burn. I want it to be lightly roasted but not burned. So we're just quickly just roasting this through. Now in Gujarati, this is called pakko masalo. So my mum always taught me that when you roast your masalas first, the flavors you will get from this is unbelievable. So now I'm going to add a teaspoon of our beautiful turmeric. Because we've not added anything in the dal yet. Now to this we've got our ginger and chilies that we're going to add to this now. Again, depending on your heat levels. Now my chilies are small bullet chilies, so they're very, very spicy. So I'm actually going to go for a little bit less than that. A teaspoon. And this is a gingery dal, so we're going for a good heaped teaspoon. I'd go for a little bit more of crushed ginger. So we're just going to cook that through. And to this we're going to add at this stage my finely chopped coriander. So we're just going to quickly cook that through. And as you've noticed, because we've used so much less oil, you'll think that's so dry. And just by default, we Indians, we like to just add a little bit more oil into this, but we're not going to. We don't need it. So that's cooking through beautifully. I'm really happy with that. To this, we're going to add a cup of passata. You can use fresh tomatoes, ground fresh tomatoes as well. This is cooking through beautifully. Right, what we're going to do now, I'm just going to switch this off and add this masala paste into our dal. So we're going to take, this dal is going to need a little bit more water, so I'm just going to add the water direct into here. One thing you must remember is don't add cold water to your hot dal. The same temperature of your dal is the same temperature of your water. Always remember to have like a kettle boiled on the side. If you add cold water at any stage to your dal, when you sit to eat, when you have that dal, you'll notice this rim of watery on top. No matter how many times you've boiled it, you will always have this sitting water at top. And that will tell you that at some point in cooking, cold water has been added. So we're adding this, all the masala into this now. Now at this point you can taste the salt levels. I've only added 1 teaspoon right at the beginning. So I'm going to add another teaspoon here. The color is coming together beautifully. At this point we're going to add a tablespoon of tamarind pulp. Now my tamarind pulp has already got some dates in it, so it's already got a sweetness to it. So we're 1 tablespoon at the moment, and we're going to add about, I'd say about inch size of jaggery. That's going in there. We'll be adding some lemon juice to this as well. I like to add my lemon juice at the end, so we're going to let this cook through. Let's put the lid back on and let that simmer until we get the ravioli done. So this is the fun part. Let's make the ravioli. What we're going to do now is take our dough out. Now today's meal is enough for 4 to 5 people. So we're not going to make all of it right now. So we're going to take a good tennis ball size dough out, flour our surface, and I'm just using regular plain flour. You can use wheat flour as well. So I'm just bringing the dough together. Now we'll be rolling this out. Now the noise you're hearing is my pot telling me that it's getting very, very hot inside. I'm just going to reduce the temperature. So we're going to roll this out. It's not a round chapati, so we're going to roll it now in a long length. Once you've determined your width, which is about hand width, 5 to 6 inches. If at this stage your dough is ripping and sticking to your rolling pin, just use a little bit more flour, or knead the dough that you've got with a little bit more flour and use that one, and just put this to the side. So we've got quite a nice length happening now. Just going to add a little bit more flour at the bottom. We want both sides to be about 2 millimeters thick. Any thicker and it won't cook. You'll taste the raw dough, and we don't want that. I'm going to roll it out a little bit thinner. If you've got a pasta machine, this rolls through a pasta machine really well as well. Right, we've got about 2 millimeters thickness there. That's perfectly fine. Now if you find your rolled out dough now is just sort of scrunching up and going smaller, then just roll it out a little bit thinner than what you want it. Because by the time it retracts, it'll be the perfect size. So I'm going to bring this way round now. Flour the base. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to have another pan ready on the side with some hot water. I'll tell you why, because we won't be able to put the ravioli direct into the dal. So I'm just going to switch that on high. We're putting a pan on to heat. Now this, I'll explain to you why we're doing this. We're not going to put the ravioli direct into the dal at the moment. It could open up, it gets too thick, so we need to cook the ravioli a little bit separate and then finish it off in the dal. So we're going to add some boiling hot water to this pan. It's about 1.5 inches of hot water. Now I'm going to quickly, while I've got the water here, I'm going to quickly check on this, on the dal. It's cooking away beautifully, mixing in with all the flavors. Now as you notice at the bottom, we've got some thick dal sitting at the bottom of the pan. I'm going to grab about a ladle full of this dal and add it to this water. About 2 ladlefuls. So just want to flavor this water up a little bit. Now here I'm going to add a little bit more hot water. Again, remember, boiling hot water. Say about a cupful. That's enough for now. If you have to add more water and your dal is just getting thicker and thicker, just remember to adjust the salt levels. Just have a little taste before you add the ravioli in, and you may have to just adjust the salt levels. Other than that, everything else should be fine. So just going to lid that back again. Now our water for the ravioli is it's already boiling hot. I'm going to add a teaspoon of our olive oil so our ravioli doesn't stick. So before I get to the next stage, don't forget to like and share and subscribe. And if you enjoy watching this, tell everybody and share our videos. It'll be fantastic. So this, now we've got our pastry ready. This is the dokri masala that we've made. We're going to put our filling into little balls. We don't want to fill the dokri up too much. It's just got to be a nice little flavour in there. So we're going to put it about 2 inches apart. Roll them up into same size balls. Try not to create 2 different sizes. Now if you've got a little ravioli maker and you want to put even smaller sizes into the ravioli maker, that works too. For me, we're just going to do it manually today, just so you know that you can, even if you've not got the right equipment, you can still make this at home. So evenly put them apart. I've made little 5 balls here. So we're going to roll this over, keeping about 1 inch on each side, and then just put this over here, giving yourself a little bit slack in between each dokri. So when we press it in, we're not going to create too much of air pockets. That's one thing you've got to remember, is try not to create too much of an air pocket around it. So we're just pressing it. And like I say, if you've got a little ravioli maker, it'll be fantastic in there as well. You've just got to put the pastry on top and put your rolling pin on top, and it's all cut ready for you. I'm just going to get my cutter. Now I've got this little round cutter. Now what that's going to help me do is create exactly the same size around it. Then afterwards I'm going to press the sides, covering it, making sure that there's no air left, because we don't want the ravioli to turn into like a balloon puri in the dokri. So again, this pastry, you just take it away, roll it out again, and carry on doing as many as you want to do. You'll be able to make at least 20 from this measurement I've given you today. So just press it in. Now if you've got a little crimpler and you want to make little designs on the side, it's perfectly up to you how much time you've got. If you've got a ravioli crimpler, keeping nice little designs on the side, I just like to press it. Nice and easy. So there's a lovely seal to it as well. So nothing's going to open up into our dal. So hopefully this will cook beautifully and we'll have a lovely center to cut into and enjoy with our dals. So this is going directly straight into our boiled. This water has to be boiled. So I'm just going to wait another minute for this to boil through properly. So we're just going to wait a minute for this to boil up. Right, our water for the ravioli is just about ready now. So we're just going to add our pieces in one at a time. We don't want them to stick to the bottom, so keep an eye out for that. If your water isn't hot enough, you might find that it'll just go right down to the bottom, depending on what kind of pot you use as well. So this will be cooking in here for about 5 to 8 minutes, and then we're going to pop it into the dal. Why we don't put it into the dal straight away? Because the dal is constantly getting thicker and thicker. Because we put the tomato in as well, it stops the ravioli from cooking faster. So we just want this to cook through. In the original dal dokri recipe, all the dokri is just cut into little pieces and popped straight into the dal, but because it's so thinner, it will cook really fast. And today we've obviously sandwiched it together, making it a bit thicker. So we just need to do this little treatment to the raviolis before we put it into the dal. I just find the quality is a lot better So that's cooking away. We're just going to pop a lid on that, and in the meantime, while that's cooking away and before I transfer it over into the dal, I'm just going to tidy up here and get ready for plating. Right, our ravioli has just about part cooked in here now. We're going to pop this lid on the side and take them out, put them back into the actual dal. Just give the dal a mix. We're just going to lift them up carefully and add them into our dal. And like I say, you can add the rest of them as well. Today we're just making our 5-6 raviolis. Now in the dal, we've already cooked them, I would say about 70–80% in here. Now it's going to incorporate the rest of the dal flavors. So while this is cooking, and with the flour of the actual ravioli, the dal will get thicker as well because that flour will incorporate into the dal. So we'll give this a good 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes it'll be ready to serve. So this is one of those dishes that you wouldn't be able to make it too much in advance as well. If you were to make it too much in advance, then the raviolis would get too soft. You wouldn't have a nice little crunch to eat. So it is something that you could probably do this method a little bit earlier, and once you're going to sit down to eat, pop it into your dal, give it 10 minutes, and then you're ready to serve. So that's cooking away now. I'm just going to increase the heat because we want the dal to incorporate around all the ravioli as well. So all the top, the bottom, everything will be nice and rolling in the heat. It's about 10 minutes and that should be ready, and we'll plate it up with the salad that we've made. Our dal dokri is done and the ravioli is cooked beautifully. So as you can see, after transferring the ravioli dal dokri into the gravy of the dal, and we've let it cook through, and it's all come together nicely. So a nice thick consistency, not too thick either. Now we're going to plate it up. So we're going to you can use a bowl as well. So little bit of coriander, and the salad we made, the onion ring salad, we're just going to pop that nicely on the side. This tastes delicious with a nice crispy papadum as well. Now the onion, right, wait, that's that done. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit, a sprinkling of our achar masala, beautiful red colour, and it just brings the whole dish together. You can serve this with some lemon, you can squeeze some more lemon on top of it as well, and that's our ravioli dal dokri. Liked what you've seen today, and do try to make this at home. If you have any problems, leave a comment down below and I'll surely definitely reply to you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and definitely the bell button too, because that will give you a notification and tell you that we're on, and you won't miss a thing, because there's going to be new recipes coming. I'll be making things that you've told me to make, and we're going to have lots of fun. So see you in the next one. Bye.